right, so part 2 of this video, you have the option, two options. You either run the DOCSIS first or run the Ingress first. Doesn't matter which order. My recommendation is run the DOCSIS first. Why? Because you want to verify you have signal at the tap. You want to verify you have signal at the tap. It defeats the purpose. If you have no signal at the tap or no return or upstream, there's no need to do everything else because the tap is bad. We got to report it. So my recommendation, run the DOCSIS test first. So once the meter is connected, we want to make sure the upstream and downstream on the meter is solid and online is blinking, becomes solid. Once becomes solid, that means we're on online status on the meter. So right now it's registering, my meter is registering to the Comcast system. Give it a second. Normally it takes a few minutes. Just want to make sure it's tight. It's coming up. Now it's solid. You see that? It's solid. That flashing light is just the battery on my meter. So the next thing you want to do on part 2 of this video is you want to open your XM app and you want to run a DOCSIS test, the one that says DOCSIS, right? Right here we're checking for the communication coming from the CMC to the house and the house back to the CMC, which is a head-in, right? We learned that, the network. So here we're looking at what's the upstream. There's 4 bonded channels for the DOCSIS. You always want to go within the middle, right? We always the middle. So right here we have a positive of not a positive, but an upstream of 42.5 decibel. In the downstream we have let me see, we have hold on a second. Let me run a DOCSIS test again. I'll tell you right now. We have around 10. About 8.9, 10. All right. That's a downstream. You see, those are the bonded channels. All right, so run a DOCSIS test. 43.3, and then we have a downstream of positive 10.4. All right, positive 10. You see where the line's at? Like around 10 dB. Positive. So I know my initial signal is 42 on my upstream and 10. That's your starting signal level because your ABC. You start losing signal based on distance and splitters.
And diameter of the cable.
Right, on the diameter of the cable. Right now we're working with RG6, so I'm not worried about that. But every 100 foot of cable, you lose 6 dBs. So my initial signal at the top is positive 10.4 and 42.5 on my upstream. That's on my head. That's on the top of my head. So I know that I don't have no noise on my drop. I'm gonna pull my phone on the side. I'm gonna disconnect my meter. I'm gonna connect the drop back to the house. The drop back to the tap, I'm sorry. I don't have to do nothing at the tap no more. Now, here we will have the terminator, right? We had a terminator here, which is around here. This would initially be right here. When we started, this should have been here, right? Yep. So we get down from the ladder, we came back over here, we'd leave this alone. Because now we want to check ingress for all this cable that's going inside the house. How we achieve that? By grabbing your meter, connect it to the ground block. Connect it to the ground block. And then grab your phone. All right. Grab your phone. Grab your phone and go where it says ingress. Ingress. It's going to check for ingress. No ingress.
No.
Because I'm checking the cable that goes to the equipment. No ingress. Let's just say hypothetically saying that there's ingress. I'm going to put my phone here so we can record it. Let me grab a barrel. I'm gonna create Ingress for everybody just to have an idea of the process of elimination. How we do this? I gotta check each line, ensuring that doesn't have an Ingress. Right now, none of this line has Ingress, so we're good to go. But let's say when you testing it, let's say if you have Ingress, you don't know which line has Ingress. So you gotta do the process of elimination. How is the process of elimination? Remove one by one, not the input, but the outputs. Okay, the outputs. Okay, boom. Let me disconnect this cable here. Let me disconnect this cable. Let me see if it has Ingress. Oh, no, Ingress has not stopped. So I know that's not the cable that has Ingress. Now, let's say this is the one that has Ingress, right? I'm going to disconnect it. I'm going to retest it. Oh, noise is out. I'm going to connect it back. I got noise. I'm going to remove it. Retest it. No noise. So you know this is the one that has Ingress because you went the process of elimination each one by one. Now, what is it to process not to process, but to identify and fix the Ingress? 99.9% at all time is always the fitting. It could be the cable itself, but most likely the fitting. So you're gonna come, cut this, put a new fitting on it in both ends. Once you did that and you came back and you retest it, because you gotta press a refresh button to retest each time. You gotta wait for a minimum of 20 sample. No noise in the house. Then you come and you select upload and you create where at the ground block, because this is where you at. That is your test. Okay? Once this meter goes online again, it automatically sends the test. If it doesn't,
Comcast.
yeah, to Comcast. If it doesn't, then you go over here where it says upload. You see how many pending uploads I have?
Yeah,
Once the meter is connected, block sync, then you press upload and it sends a test for that particular home.
okay.